Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But as always guys, make sure you do check out the Discord link. It's linked in the description and also the top of the chat so you can't miss it. There is updates there, chat with other traders, share ideas. I share some of my ideas there as well. So if you are looking to join a community, go check it out. It's free to join, linked in the description below. But good morning, people. What is up? Hope you're all doing well. What is up, Odell? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Abraham, good day to you as well. Dima, what is up? Good morning, good morning. So as always guys, I will go through the USD side of things first, take a look at the dollar, USD majors, gold, silver. If you do have any requests, any pairs which you want me to take a look at, and of course any particular time frames as well you want me to take a look at, let me know in the chat. But until then, we'll go through some USD pairs and see what's happening with that side of things. So I've been very bearish, excuse me, as a whole on the dollar. I still do think there is low prices to be expected. I'm looking at the push into the low there at 98. We did have a bit of a bounce yesterday at support. Price was rejecting this level pretty well during the stream yesterday. I believe we were trading around here. We did start to see some momentum push higher. And I talked about potentially price pushing into this area and finding some resistance. We did have a brief pause over here. And then of course momentum did kick into the downside. So naturally, not a bad place to be looking to short from. As you can see with the wicks there, the market is having a hard time trying to break through. A nice close there on the hourly chart, solid rejection. So with USD, nice rejection from that level. I do anticipate more downside from it. Again, my overall bias is still a push into the swing low. Basically just looking for this overall bearish trend just to continue. There's no signs of any reversal yet. So until I see signs of reversal, I'm naturally going to expect the trend to continue. So yeah, naturally, I do like the shorts here to the downside. I think pairs like Euro USD and Pound did shape up pretty well yesterday. More so Pound USD, but Euro, nice reaction as well. I was talking about this range here, which corresponds to the range we just talked about. And again, with Euro USD's price action, everything is the exact inverse to what we discussed in the dollar. Here we've got a long-standing bullish trend on our hands, looking to see if price can get back to the swing high up there at 1.157. I said this week I want to see price break sharp to the upside. We saw that. That's the intent from the buyers there, showing that okay, the bullish trend is still alive and well, and we're likely to continue. Then we're looking for the retest here for the continuation. And again this morning, nice reaction to the upside, nice strong bullish engulfing candle, giving us that charge. Now we've seen a bit of a follow through. So I'm looking to see if we can sustain this momentum and continue. In terms of opportunities, you're probably looking for price to come back and put somewhat of a double bottom in if you're looking for any entries for Euro. Because ideally you kind of already want to be in the position rather than entering up here. So if price can come back down, respect lows again, maybe put a nice double bottom in. That could be a nice opportunity, perhaps even on a lower time frame, to find entries and then take advantage of a swing back to the high. And of course, the main move, the bigger move I'm after, is that swing there. I'm simply looking for this bullish trend to continue. So as a whole, very bullish for Euro. No signs of reversal just yet. One thing I want to mention is that we are very corrective on the way up, which is a slight red flag. You kind of want price to be showing a little bit more momentum than that to really show that the trend is continuing. Corrective structure like this might mean that we push up, but we do sell off pretty hard at the highs, or maybe might just pinch the highs, then sell off. Or of course, we could sell off beforehand as well. So yeah, I'm not a fan of how price is moving. It's a bit corrective, which shows that the buyers are struggling a little bit. But overall, structure's still up. We're still putting in higher highs and higher lows. So as long as that sustains, I remain pretty bullish there on Euro. In terms of pound USD, nice breaking retest yesterday. I was talking about the retest of this area because I was looking for the retest of this area at the start of the week. But unfortunately, the double bottom did not happen. We got about 3/4 of the way before price decided to turn around. This is where we actually opened up for the week, actually. Yeah, that was Sunday. So I was looking for price to double bottom there. Reason being, it's coming from a really nice level on the daily, weekly chart. If I take this resistance across, it lines up very well with that location, 1.34 just above it. So I was looking for the double bottom, just the basically the break and retest of this zone here, and from there looking for the continuation. Pound USD is in a very nice uptrend, and it has been in for a while. And naturally, I'm just going to expect that trend to continue until I see signs that the market is about to reverse. Then, of course, I'll back away. But for now, trend is still up, momentum still up. Still seeing consistent higher lows, so that does keep me bullish. So since we did not get the double bottom over there, yesterday we were talking about the breaking retest of this zone, which eventually did give us a nice rejection. Really nice wicks to the downside, strong close to the upside on this hourly candle, which closed at 4 p.m. UK time. Then again this morning, nice rejection as well. We are a little bit flat. You could probably argue that the market is consolidating on top of that level, which looks like we're kind of looking for a bit of a catalyst to get the ball rolling. So far, yes, the level's doing a good job at respecting price, but just because price respects the level doesn't necessarily mean we are going to continue back to highs. We're going to bounce from the level, but price might eventually break through. So, of course, that's where the management of the trade comes in. In terms of opportunities for pound, again, ideally already want to be in the position from the retest of that level. Unless we come back down there again, then of course more entries are possible. But I wouldn't really want to be looking to enter up here, especially since we are testing some resistance to our left there. So pound USD, I do expect more upside back to the high at 1.358. Again, in terms of opportunities, you want price to be back at support first at least. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for pound. Dollar CAD, just not much to report on, just very sluggish sideways price action. Overall, dollar CAD still looking very bearish. I do think more downside is still very likely. I'm looking at the push into this zone here. Nice double bottom followed by a very impressive breakout. I do think price is attracted towards that area, and maybe we go for a reversal there, but I do think we'll at least go and test that zone. So I do expect to see more downside. In terms of shorting opportunities, I talked about this range here, very brief, but did see a lot of momentum come from it, and I think that's the best we can probably find here with dollar CAD. That's our previous lower high, that's our new low, looking for the next one again for a new low. So I would want to see a much bigger pullback for dollar CAD. At the moment, we're trading into support right now, so this is definitely not the place where I want to be looking to short the market. Now, of course, doesn't mean the market can't still fall. We can still very much drop from here. There might be some very intraday opportunities to take advantage of that, but a bit more of a swing bias. I would wait for a bigger retracement before I do start looking to short this one. But yeah, direction still very bearish. Looking for a push into 1.36. Just waiting to see if we get that bigger pullback or not. And then in terms of Aussie dollar, yeah, horrendous price action still with this one. So it's the same old in terms of just letting price do its thing. Not interested inside that zone. I did say if you are looking to trade, then the setup that makes the most sense to me would just be waiting for price to push to the lower end of this channel, because in fairness to price, we have respected the low on numerous occasions and we're very consistent with these high lows. So the odds of price getting back there again, seeing some rejection, capitalizing on another high low, it's actually pretty high. It's going to take a lot of force for us to actually break outside of this channel. So if you can see some decent rejection there's a good chance we do bounce again. But again, with the bounce, you're not expecting anything too crazy. I'll be getting ready to secure profits at resistance there. So that's the best that I can see for Aussie dollar. Of course, I'm still looking for that bigger swing for AUD USD back into this area. Bit of a mini sell-off, higher low, higher high, basically looking at the pullback of this move here. Hopefully tag the 50 as well. So I am still looking at that bigger pullback and then continuation, but it's nowhere to be seen at the moment. So no point of me going on too much about it. I've spoken about it for a number of weeks now, and the Aussie dollar is just comfortable inside that channel. So this is kind of where we're going to focus on for now until we break out. Then of course we can mention that setup in a bit more detail. NZUSD looking interesting. Again, keeping it very simple, just looking for price to break resistance here, then possibly some opportunities on a retest to follow that momentum. It's been a very solid level. First test, second and third, mini fake out over there, but for the most part, it's held resistance very, very well. So if you were to see a solid breakout, the chance of us seeing a good retest and a continuation off the back of that, I would say, are pretty high. And you can see we are pretty consistent now with some higher lows, kind of copying Aussie dollar, but you can see that we are quite staggered here. So it looks like the market is getting ready for a breakout. So yeah, if we can see that breakout, a healthy one as well, hopefully some nice momentum, then yeah, I wouldn't mind looking for some break me test opportunities for NZUSD on the break me test of that zone, because I do expect to see more upside in the longer term. Basically looking at a big reversal here, big bottom there, or double bottom if you will. Now I think we can see a bit of a trend going back up again. So that's the move I'm trying to get involved with, but still waiting for the break of that level. In terms of gold, we did see a bit of a pullback. I think it just missed this area, like a few pips, because I was watching gold yesterday. I was talking about some longs in this area, so I was keeping an eye out. My alert actually did trigger for gold. I had my alert roughly there, so it did trigger, so I was keeping an eye on gold, but it formed that wick in the afternoon, pull back up, and it hasn't come back since. Now I'm not going to rule it out, because gold can still potentially pull back into that zone and still continue. I was talking about the breaking test of this level at the start of the week, but I did say that that breakout is too shallow. It's not a big enough breakout for me, so I'm not really looking for the retest of that zone anymore. So my eyes did switch more towards this range here, and still is. So I'm kind of hoping to see gold have a bit of a mini sell-off and then continue, somewhat like a bull flag pattern here. Again, more so looking to take advantage of this on like an hourly chart. So more fixated on this kind of price action here for a buy, which I think still has a decent chance of happening. I haven't really seen much momentum for gold. This still looks somewhat corrective, so I think a push down could still be on the cards. But in terms of the bigger move for gold, as I've spoken about, we've got the break of the channel here, so that's what makes me bullish. Now I'm simply looking for the retest for a continuation back to the swing high at 3,500. So as long as this zone can hold, that should send price back up again. If we do break below it, yeah, I would drop that bullish bias pretty quickly there for gold and go back to the drawing board. But for now, pretty bullish. And in terms of silver, again, very nice breakout. It has left behind a pretty sturdy level of resistance, which of course will be turned support. That would be a nice place for a buy. I like the momentum, very big candles, kind of really committing to the upside there. So a retest of that zone, I think there's a good chance we do respect it and do bounce from that area. And in terms of the bigger picture, I'm still looking for new highs past this point, which is around 34.8. I do think price is likely to have a big breakout of that, and I think 40 might be the next big level for silver. Next big psychological level would be 40. So I think there's a lot of upside to be had with silver, a lot of upside to be had with gold still. I don't mind this opportunity. I do prefer gold a bit more, but I think that's definitely something to look out for as well. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Overall, still pretty bearish. What's up, Jay Huntley? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Thoughts on Aussie dollar. Okay, I'll quickly recap that one. Mohammed, dollar yen. What's up? We'll take a look as well. Hi Elf, hope you're well. I got into platinum, okay. After breakout yesterday, 107.785. How far do you think it can go? I haven't actually looked at platinum since last week, actually, or was it the week before? But yeah, we'll go take a look at platinum. Ahmed, what's up? Good morning, good morning. Hope you're well. Ivan, what's up, my man? Good to have you back on the stream. Hope everything is well with you. So I'll go through Aussie dollar, dollar yen, and what was the other one? Platinum. Of course, any requests, drop it down in the chat and we will discuss. But yeah, for Aussie dollar, not seeing much here, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of the price action. Very, very messy. And we're kind of just slowly pushing to the upside in this ascending channel here. So the best way I can see it to try and trade this is looking for another higher low, another bounce at the low of the channel. I think that makes a load of sense. I've highlighted all the higher lows here. Another push back into support to me makes the most sense. The market is bullish. I do think USD can still see weakness. That should help Aussie dollar drive higher. And for the most part, this has been a very solid trend line and has respected price very, very well. So if we were to get there again, see another healthy rejection, I think there's a good chance we do turn around and do see a bounce. But that's the best I can see for Aussie dollar. Very correct behavior. I'm looking for a bigger push down first before I do get for the bigger swings, but we'll have to wait and see if that actually is going to happen. But for now, that's the best I can see for Aussie dollar. In terms of dollar yen, so yeah, dollar yen, very bullish yesterday. A lot of the yen pairs had a bit of a rally. We'll go through the yen pairs in detail, but very strong reaction of support here. 142.5 roughly, held price pretty well. Strong rejection. USD was a bit strong, but yen was quite weak at the time as well, so that did give us a nice push to the upside. So now dollar yen for me is kind of in the middle of nowhere. We're still respecting support. You respected the resistance up there. I was looking for price to actually go and break through this zone this week. I still think we can do eventually, but at the moment support is still holding, so we got to pay respect to that. No matter my bias, if price is still respecting support, there's only so much we can do if you're looking to sell. If you're waiting to sell, I would strongly advise waiting for price to break through support there, then look for a retest or wait to see if price can push back into that zone. And that's kind of where we're at right now with dollar yen, especially from a 4-hour point of view. Not a lot to do here. There's no significant level, significant area until price does make its way back to this area or back down to this area. So I would not be looking to touch price here and let price do its thing. It's a very kind of sharp reversal. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some more upside there. But would I look to try and trade that? Absolutely not. Kind of in the middle of a range right now, not really testing anything significant. I'll wait for us to push back to resistance first, and then we can see what we can do there. Maybe there might be some sells. Maybe there might be some nice breakout opportunities as well to trade that back into resistance. So that could be something to look at. And of course, if we do push back down again, great. We'll see what we do at support again, whether we break through. If we do, then there could be a lovely retest back to 140 at the lows over there. So all in all for dollar yen, there are opportunities here, but more so at these levels, 142.5, 145.750. That's where my attention will be. Inside this range, I'll let price do its thing and not try and intervene, just because I don't have much edge in that area there. In terms of platinum, let's take a look. Okay, platinum looking very bullish. Okay, I remember we talked about the breakout with this one. Was that last week? When was that? I think it was on this candle, wasn't it? 20th of May. So no, that's about 2 weeks ago actually. So yeah, it looks like platinum could be breaking out. It looks like we could be breaking out. Kind of got this rough trend line here, kind of connecting the highs. Looks like we've cleared that. Probably try and mark another one, which still looks like price has cleared that as well. So it's safe to say that we're kind of breaking out trend lines now, which is pretty significant because these trend lines do go back to Feb 22, Feb 2021. So they have been respected for quite a while. So the break of them is quite significant. But what I'm seeing in terms of levels is that prior resistance looks to be holding at support, which is again a very important thing in terms of a breakout as well. It would be a bit of a red flag if you were to break back underneath that zone. The fact that we're still finding support there is a very strong sign. Hi Alf, you said you got long yesterday at 1077, which is current price pretty much. That's around there. Okay, maybe it depends what time you're at, because that would be this morning. How far do you think it can go? I mean, we're coming to resistance now, so I mean, again, if this is the breakout, we can go a lot further than this. I'll expect price to rip to the upside, really. But again, breakouts are always difficult to time because breakouts rely on the continuation of momentum. If you're seeing momentum and it's not slowing down, the breakout's got fuel. If we start to slow down and start to find resistance, we could very easily roll over and go back to square one. At the moment, things are looking very good, especially in the higher time frame. So I do like what I'm seeing. I do feel like we can go very, very far with this one if the breakout is going to stem from the higher time frames, like the weekly chart, which looks like it could be doing. There is a pretty big level here. I would say if we can break through that, then you're looking at a very big green light in terms of we could be really flying high with platinum, to be honest, if we do clear that resistance. But then again, we might not. And if we don't clear resistance there, we start to fire some wicks, we could very much easily roll back over and return back to support, which isn't necessarily such a bad thing because this could just form a bigger range. And then eventually, maybe in a couple of weeks' time, we actually do see the breakout. Sometimes we see a lot of momentum, price will pause for a while, and then we see the continuation of the momentum. It doesn't have to necessarily be straight away. So it's not the biggest red flag to see price respect resistance and come back down. I would say as long as we don't break support here, so as long as price doesn't do that, puts in a big double top, then yeah, that's a big red flag, and I think price will probably sell off at that point. But if we can still stay respecting this level here at 1040, I would say that keeps me bullish there for platinum. So in terms of the level, I'll watch out for that because that could take price against you. Of course, if price breaks through that, you're looking very good, and I would expect a lot of upside. How far can we go? Well, I would start looking at these as my next major targets. Of course, doesn't necessarily mean you have to aim all the way up there, but that would be the next major target, and then that would be the next major target, so on and so forth. So how far can we go? Well, I'll be looking at these areas in terms of targets. But first things first, let's see if we can break resistance. If not, we'll probably sell off again. If we do, you're looking very, very good. Set to die, what is up? Pound CAD, Euro USD moves similar because I'm in short position. I want to enter long in euro. Good question. For the most part, not really, but there is going to be some correlation because Euro USD is a very similar pair to Pound USD, and Pound USD and Pound CAD are very correlated. I would say about 75%, 80% of the time, if Pound CAD is trending up, Pound USD is normally trending up. If Pound USD is trending down, normally Pound CAD is trending down. I would say about 75% of the time on average, 80% of the time on average, that's the case. They're normally very much linked. Then of course, because Pound USD is very similar to Euro USD, they probably have about an 80% correlation as well. There will be some positive correlation between Euro USD and Pound CAD, but it's not anything crazy in terms of very, very high. But there would be some type of link there. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, it depends on your horizon. If you're very intraday, you can get away with it. If you're looking for a bigger swing trade, then maybe it's not the play to do. Maybe it's safer to wait for Pound CAD to get to break even and then enter the Euro USD position. But yeah, I probably would say there's probably is some type of positive correlation. It's not a massive one. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't look too much into detail with that, because you're always going to find a positive link between different currency pairs. There will be some type of link. As long as it's not directly correlated, like Euro USD or Euro JPY, or Pound CAD, Pound USD, I probably wouldn't pay it too much attention, but you probably would find some type of correlation. But like I said, you'll be stuck only trading one pair if you don't want to trade any type of correlation at all, or unless you go to a different type of market. Oh, 1063. Okay, that's a bit more like it. Yeah, nice entry. Things are looking good there. So yeah, I'll just watch out for that resistance level at 1085, 1090. I think that will make or break the breakout, because of course you're under the impression that you've bought here and you're looking for momentum to continue and to rip in your favor. So if you do start to see some red flags at this zone, your momentum still looks pretty good, I must admit. So if you do see price rally in your favor, which of course it has done, and starts to stall here, that could be a sign to close some positions or maybe trail to break even. Again, however you want to manage it, but I would take that into consideration. Of course, if price just rips through this, you're looking good. Essentially, as long as pricing stay now above that level, you should see some really nice swings in your favor. But I think that's the level to focus on. Darker Sean, what's up, my man? DAX looks like it's going to break the all-time high again. I feel like DAX is creating new all-time highs every 5 seconds, it seems like. And NAS and Dow Jones 5 minute, please. Okay, we'll have a look. See, Ivan, New Zealand dollar buy opportunity after the retest of an hour. Okay, well, I'll have a look at that one as well. Okay, so let me go through the DAX, NAS, and the Dow Jones. Okay, so DAX is looking very bullish. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with you, Darkshaw. I think price is very likely to form new highs at this point. Very strong close. The last 4-hour candle, current 4-hour candle looks pretty healthy as well. Momentum is very much picked up on the hourly chart. We might see a bit of a sell-off potentially, but I would expect us just to go and take up the highs there. Yeah, very, very soon, probably sometime today. So yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think if you can find some type of pullback, that would be nice, because I think in terms of probability, we're just very likely to take up the highs. If you can try and catch a higher low somewhere, that will give you the opportunity to trade it towards those highs. But yeah, we might just rip to the upside anyway. But yeah, that's looking very bullish. I must say. In terms of NAS, how are we doing with this one? Okay, NAS looking very bullish too. Okay, we did break through this resistance here. This was the level which I was concerned about, because if price did respect this, I would have been looking for a bigger sell-off here. We did reject it slightly, but didn't really provide much resistance in the end. Very strong close there yesterday afternoon, and that's pretty much set the tone there for NAS. So it looks like it's onwards and upwards for NAS, similar to the DAX. Probably not looking as bullish, but I think this one's probably set to go and take out highs as well. Of course, longer term, we spoke a lot about price getting back to the all-time high. I think that's still the main direction there for NAS. So as a trader, I think the buys just make the most sense. Certainly now this level's to our backs. It would be nice to retest that zone actually for some entries, but I'm not too sure looking at momentum. In terms of the 5 minute chart, looking a little bit flat there, but I think overall the buys are still in control. What would be nice maybe would be a push back into the low here. Maybe this afternoon, that could be a nice place to find a buy, because essentially the market's quite flat and you don't really want to be buying into resistance. I mean, there might be a short here to take advantage of a pullback, but I would kind of just focus with the buy, since that's where the bigger move is likely to be, and we're probably likely to take out these highs anyway. So I probably wouldn't entertain sells too much, but if you can drive lower back into the lows here, maybe even wick through them, that would be nice. I think that would be a smart place for a buy. and naturally push back into resistance. But again, it's the idea that we're trading in the same direction as the higher time frame. Can probably leave some positions to run just in case we do see that bigger move. But yeah, for the NAS 100, the fact that we've smashed through that level of resistance at 21,480, that has made me very, very bullish on the pair now. And yeah, I don't think it's I think it's only a matter of time before we do get back to the all-time highs. And in terms of the Dow Jones, bullish too as well. I was looking to see what price could do at this zone, kind of similar to the NAS, but did not provide much resistance at all. Price broke pretty much with these there. And now it looks like we're pushing back into the high on our left here. So that's probably where price is going to push into. Now that's still a solid level of resistance. We may react from that area, but again, the bigger move for US 30 is still expected to be back to the highs now. I do think this is our low printed in, and now price is just going to continue. So as I mentioned yesterday, if I can see price clear the highs, so break through this high and break through this high, that makes things very, very easy, straightforward for me to understand, because now structure's bullish again in the 4 hour, and from there, yeah, just pullbacks, retests will make the most sense. But in terms of the 5-minute chart, let's have a look-see. Okay, so a little bit flat as well, like NAS, but at least this one took out the highs. So in terms of an opportunity with this one, I think NAS looks a little bit cleaner, but I would wait for some type of sell-off. Maybe a push back into support here. If we can spike into that, that could be a nice place for a buy. New York could maybe give us that kind of fake sell-off-ish, and then potentially respect support and continue from there onwards. That could be a nice place for a buy. I like this zone here more so from like an hourly or 4 hour chart, but from a 5-minute perspective, I do want price to kind of push down into healthy areas of support before I would look for a buy. And if we can push into 42,500, I think that could be a nice place, especially if you can see some healthy rejection there. But I think I probably would prefer NAS, just because the support I'm buying from is a little bit clearer. But yeah, both of them look pretty bullish. Both look like they're heading back to resistance supply, so watch out for that. But overall, direction is looking up. Okay, where was I? NZUSD, Ivan, we'll take a look. TP at the high, but I believe we can go further. Okay, I'll go for NZUSD. What's up, Dissy? Welcome to the stream. Pound NZD, USD. Okay, we'll take a look at those. No problem. We also talked about EuroCHF long-term break of structure. I'm long currently from 0.93520. I think there is a long way to go. I do agree. I do think EuroCHF is getting ready for a big breakout. I'm currently long Aussie CHF. And again, it's the idea that potentially CHF could be weak and we could be seeing some turnarounds for the CHF pair. So I do like the look of the CHF pairs to the upside. Of course, Aussie CHF is the one I chose, but at the end of the day, Aussie CHF, Euro, Pound, New Zealand, it does kind of just rely on what CHF is going to do. If CHF is going to be weak, they're all probably going to move up, maybe at different speeds, but the direction will be, together. But yeah, we'll go through Euro Swiss as well. Pound NZD, Pound NZD, Euro NZD, we'll take a look. I'll go through New Zealand dollar first for Ivan. You said you're looking for a buy. NZUSD buy opportunity after retest of 1 hour area of interest. Let's drop to the hourly. So you said you're looking for a buy of retest of 0.60050. Okay, so that would be here. So I assume you're looking for kind of a break and retest for that consolidation, maybe. Let me know if I'm correct, or you're looking at something else or a different kind of idea. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I probably would wait for price to give me a much kind of clearer breakout of that range. Probably could argue that price is still within the range, to be honest. We're still kind of respecting the wicks there to our left. So I think in terms of a place for a buy, I do agree, but I would want price to kind of really show me that momentum breaking clearly. And then, yeah, sure, a retest of that zone would be nice. Kind of this whole kind of wick region would be acting as support. So yeah, I would agree. I mean, if that's what you're looking at, I do agree with that, but you need that breakout to kind of cement things. Otherwise, we might still roll back over and go to square one. But if price does commit to the upside with some healthy momentum, then sure, the break and retest does make sense. And then, of course, naturally, you would expect price to push back to highs. And I do agree we can go a lot further as well. So yeah, if you can get a solid breakout, show the buyers are in charge again, then yeah, I think the buys look good. I know we've had this candle here, which looks like we're clearing resistance, but I would still argue that we still got some resistance left to clear. It's a sign that buyers are stepping in and perhaps we're getting ready for a breakout, but I wouldn't quite justify that as a breakout just yet. So preferably a little bit more upsides, but I do agree. I do think we can return back to the highs there at 0.605 and probably further as well. So it could be a nice position where you kind of take most of your profits at the high and leave maybe a chunk to continue. Okay, look at its consolidation, but now used as a support, and you'll see price go a bit higher and then retest. Okay, cool. Same page basically then, same page. But yeah, a break and retest that zone would make sense. But yeah, slightly higher move just to show that the buyers are really taking control. Then yeah, retest would look good. Similar to the pound USD setup in terms of price breaking to the upside. Let me get to the 4-hour chart. Price breaking to the upside out of this range here. Really clean breakout. Then we've had the retest since then, and now I'm expecting pound to continue. Although pound is a little bit flat at the moment, but I'm still expecting that upside move there. Okay, let's go through pound NZD and euro NZD. So I'm bearish on both of these currency pairs. Not really looking to trade them, to be honest. I'm not seeing great opportunities. I mean, I did miss pound NZD actually last week. We had the interest rates for NZD, and which actually gave me an entry signal. But this was whilst I was sleeping, unfortunately. So it didn't get the trade. But really nice rejection at the high, basically looking at a big head and shoulder pattern. That's what I've been talking about with this one. So there's your left. Actually, let me go to the daily chart. You'll see it better. So there's your left, there's your head, and there's your right shoulder. And of course, that would be your neckline. So I'm expecting us to have a bit of a sell-off here for pound NZD. And I do expect us to release return back to support there. As long as we can maintain resistance here, which so far looks to be pretty likely, I do expect us to make our way back into 2.21825. So that's the expectation there for pound NZD. Now, I did say preferably I would like price to kind of have another drive to the upside. I know that might have not been very likely, but that's kind of where I want to get in myself, because entries will be best up there, kind of right at the top, stop loss above a major resistance, and that will give me the best opportunity to maximize my risk to reward. I did mention in my weekly analysis the next best opportunity would just be a break and retest of this area. In fairness, it has proven to be a very solid level of support. Once, twice, a third time, fourth, fifth. Now looks like it's holding as resistance. So I do like the level. It's just because the market is quite choppy and we're kind of in the middle of things. I don't feel comfortable putting my stop loss here. I know it does make sense. And again, just because I don't feel comfortable putting my stop loss there doesn't mean the trade won't play out. It's just from my experience, I'd rather just have my stop loss above the major highs, major lows, because on average I'm more protected there. But at the same time, it's still a good level. And I don't think price is going to come back here. I could be wrong. Maybe we do. So I think this is probably the next best opportunity. If you can see some momentum come from here, I think that could be a nice entry signal. Stops above the high, and that could be a nice push into support. So Not a bad opportunity there for pound NZD. I would prefer push back to the high, but in terms of direction, very bearish. I do think we can return to support, and I'm basically looking at a very big head and shoulder pattern playing out there. So pound NZD very bearish. This is another market which is quite overbought. Euro NZD, similar bias too in terms of I'm expecting a push down, but price action not looking great, I must add. I like this one because we just about plucked the highs from COVID back in March 2020. We just about spiked through the high there. So I do think we can naturally see some downside from here. Not only is it just a significant level of resistance, but the market did it very rapidly, very quickly. So the market is quite stretched. I do think naturally we'll push down to find our equilibrium, find buys again. Maybe we go for another continuation. Who knows? Maybe we reverse. But I do think we can see lower prices and price can come back and retest some levels here. So for the time being, I'm pretty bearish on Euro NZD. But I must admit it's difficult to find opportunities here because this looks like a consolidation to me. I think a nice trade would be a push back into the high here. If you could see price drive back into that level, I think that could be a nice place for a sell. Take out some of the weaker lower highs here, test major resistance, stops above the high. That might give you a nice position to swing it back down into lows again. But for the most part, USD looks very, very choppy. So personally, I would stay away. That would interest me because at least I know I'm away from the noise and I can get a decent stop loss in and maximize my risk reward. So that would interest me. But in terms of getting involved inside of here, where all the chaos is, I would stay away. That's a quick way to take unnecessary losses and just give profits back to the market, especially when we're that choppy. But my expectation is a sell-off. So that's my bias for USD. Just not seeing a clear opportunity to trade it unless we do push back into resistance there, which maybe at this point not looking very likely. But for both of them, I think we do sell off. Okay, so yeah, Euro CHF, I am, in terms of the long term, I'm bullish. I'm not the biggest fan of the Euro CHF price action, I must say. It's probably my least favorite CHF pair, but then again, my bias for the CHF pairs, at least for Euro CHF, isn't really dictated by the 4-hour charts, more so the daily, weekly chart. The fact that we've had so many rejections of support here is why I do think price can rally to the upside. So that's why I'm bullish. Not necessarily what the intraday price action is doing. Of course, the higher, you did mention, the higher time frames could be looking to break structure back to the upside again. So, I can understand that you're looking at the higher time frames as well. But yeah, Euro CHF, I do think we're bottoming out here and getting ready for a bit of a rally. It's just when I drop to the 4-hour time frame, which is where I do my business, it's just very, very choppy stuff. So difficult to find some clarity in this. I wouldn't mind if price kind of just broke out of this noise and then I looked at some opportunities on a pullback somewhere. That would make me a little bit more confident about getting into a trade. Yeah, I mean, essentially support here is just holding, so naturally buying from the lows here just makes sense because you're just basically betting that this support will hold, put stops below. So I can understand some buys from that perspective, but for the most part, we are very, very choppy. It's just my high time frame bias is where I've got the clarity. So I do expect us to eventually break higher. It does look like we're potentially going for a breakout. I'm drawing this trend line in, here, and it looks like price may be trying to break that to the upside. I wouldn't say we've got the breakout just yet. This current candle is still live. Still got 3 hours left before it does close, so a lot can happen in that time. Another wick can form for all we know, but perhaps a breakout is being flirted with here right now. And if you can see a solid close, that might get Euro CHF on its way. But we'll see in 3 hours' time. But I definitely do like the idea. Excuse me. Where was I? Hussein, what's up? Oh, it's Alan. Okay, what's up? Okay, hope you're well. Is that a new account you got there? Longing pound USD targeting 1.37813. Shorting US 30 targeting 42. Bullish in NZUSD. I do agree with the NZUSD bullish. I do agree with pound USD bullish. Shorting US 30. Maybe if you're looking at a very short-term move, but I do think the bigger move for US 30 is still higher up. So I would keep it short and sweet with US 30. BTC, okay, we'll have a look. No problem, Ivan, happy to help. Yusuf, good morning, my man. Hope you're doing good. Welcome, welcome. Selling pound NZD targeting 2.218. Yes, I do like that. I do like that pound NZD opportunity there as well. I'm very bearish on pound NZD. I'm currently long on Aussie CHF. I picked up this position yesterday, just shortly after the stream, actually. When was that? That was 2 p.m. Yeah. So a couple of hours after the stream, I said Aussie CHF buys and Euro Aussie shorts were the two pairs I was looking at yesterday. And I wasn't going to trade them both because they're very, very similar. I'm basically banking on Aussie being strong for the most part. Of course, with this trade here as well, I'm banking on CHF being weak too. But Aussie CHF has been a pair which I've been looking to trade for a while. I did actually get long on this one a few weeks back. I was actually long over here, but unfortunately I was trailed out of the trade at break even with this move here, unfortunately, which knocked me out of the position. But I'm actually not too bothered about that because in hindsight, it's actually allowed me to probably get back into it at a better price. Not really better price, pretty much the same price, but a better opportunity because the pullback has been a lot longer. The pullback here was relatively short. And I still do expect a lot more upside for Aussie CHF. I'm looking for a push back into this zone here. This is where we had the sell-off earlier this year. Massive move back down. I do think price is very, very likely to at least come back and retest that range. So there could be a really nice rally to be taken advantage of here for Aussie CHF back into that zone. I'm kind of looking just to target the highs here, keep it simple, but I will be flexible with this position. I will probably bank some profits at the high, but I will kind of let things pan out and just see how far I can take it because I am coming from an all-time low here. You know, price did create all-time lows not too long ago, so I do think we can see a pretty big recovery, and it could be a position that does turn out to be a pretty big one. If you look at the history of Aussie CHF, every time price does make a new all-time low here, we do have very sharp recoveries. Market does tend to push back up quite a lot, and we've literally done that again. So again, I'm not trying to capitalize on a humongous move, but it's just the idea that, okay, I'm going to trail stops and just manage the trade and see how far we go. It might just go a little bit in my favor and stop me out break even, or it might be a humongous trade. We have to wait and see. But for now, I'm happy with where we're located. I like the pullback, very corrective indeed. So I was eyeing up this one and Euro Aussie at the same time yesterday. But Euro Aussie didn't really give me the entry I was looking for. The candle wasn't big enough. This was the candle that closed at the same time that I took the Aussie CHF long position. You can see it's a nice bearish engulfing candle, but I'm very particular with the candles that I do look to enter from. I don't take every bearish engulfing candle or every bullish engulfing candle because I will be having about a gazillion trades a week if that was the case. So I'm very particular, looking for a good shift in momentum, looking for wicks as well. This did tick the box in terms of wicks, but just not in terms of momentum. We have slowly picked up pace. I still do expect it to play out. It's just not a good enough entry for me to justify a trade. But Aussie CHF just about did enough for me to get the trade. Nice shift of momentum. I like the double bottom. So yeah, I'm going to see how this one does pan out. But a long way to go. A long way to go. We still got these areas to contend with. I feel like if we do break structure here, if we do see a solid push up there, I will just remove risk, stop loss to break even, and see what we can do from then onwards. But yeah, that's the only position I'm in at the moment. Funny enough, the other position I was in last week was New Zealand CHF longs, which again, I'm still trying to take advantage of the same idea. New Zealand CHF coming from all-time lows. I'm trying to buy this one back up. But this one was just very, very flat. So I did get knocked out at break even here last week. But I'm not so optimistic about jumping into more buys for New Zealand CHF because it's just so flat. And of course, I'm now in Aussie CHF, so there's no point. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll probably go through my watch list in a second, but I'll go through BTC as well. If I have missed out a pair, let me know. If you have dropped a pair in the chat, I've missed it out, you can drop it again. What's up, Open Meepo? Welcome to the stream. Just want to appreciate this great work here. Appreciate it, my man. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel. That, of course, helps out too. Helps promote the content, grows the channel. So if you are enjoying it, finding it useful, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But I do appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed so far. Anyway, so in terms of BTC, it's very corrective. It's very, very corrective, which doesn't give me a lot of optimism about the buys, I must add. We did, of course, form a high here. We formed another low high here. It wasn't the craziest drop in the world. We didn't really see much momentum in this move down, but it was a pretty meaningful move down. We cleared support for one thing, and now we're having a very corrective move back up again. So I do worry for BTC, and I'm looking at this zone here around 107k, and I would expect to see a bit of a drop off here for BTC again, actually. Certainly if you can see a strong rejection, I feel like that would be a nice trade, especially kind of intra-week, intraday, and you could be looking at a swing at least back to the lows here, but probably back into support here just around 101k. So yeah, BTC for the most part not looking good. I mean, the overall trend is still very much up. I'm not saying reversals just yet, but again, the fact that we're failing at the highs there, seeing rejection, momentum is slowing down. That's not what you want to be seeing for a BTC for a breakout. Look at the breakout we had last time. Momentum, we did slow down here a little bit, but for the most part, momentum continued to push. Didn't really see too many alarm bells. That's the type of breakouts which look good for BTC. You can see last time we tried to create new highs. I mean, we did with a wick, but you can see how sluggish price was. And what happened afterwards, we did drop to the downside there. That's sort of the vibes we're getting here. Unless out of somewhere we see some big candles driving us forward, I feel like BTC might have a bit of a slow death here and go for a bigger pullback at some point. But yeah, for now, I would say I'm pretty bearish for BTC in the short term. Of course, not the overall long term. Still very much a buyer, or at least bullish on BTC. But for now, I do like the sell opportunities here. It'd be nice if we could tag that trend line as well. Happy to help DC. Pound JPY, okay, we'll take a look as well. No problem. What's your view on Aussie CHF and pound yen? Well, I'm actually buying Aussie CHF, so my view is very, very bullish for that pair. I can quickly recap that, but I'll go through pound yen first. It's a short time. Okay, short move on US 30, long in pound yen as well. Okay, I'll go through pound yen. A few people have requested that. I haven't actually gone through any of the yen pairs, actually. I might have gone through dollar yen, but I do need to take a look at the yen pairs. Yusuf, yes, we'll take a look at UJ, no problem. I have a level at 143.252. Should I be looking for a pullback to it? After the impulse move, there was a small pullback. Should I pay attention to it? Okay, I will have a look, see it again. I assume you're talking about the 15-minute chart. Okay, so we'll go through pound yen. So with pound JPY, we're very, very bullish yesterday. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I was expecting a bit of a slow grind to the downside in the break of structure from pound yen. But it looks like the buyers have stepped in for the yen. Not so much pound. Pound isn't that strong. It's more so yen is pretty weak right now. But yeah, pound yen looking very, very bullish. Strong rejection with that 4-hour close, and we haven't really looked back since. So at this rate, it probably does look like price does make a push back to resistance there, which is 196.3. There's nothing really to do in the meantime unless you're kind of right down in the lower time frames. I mean, that would be a nice place for a buy down here, but I'm not too sure if we get there. We are a little bit corrective here, so I would want price to kind of... Oh, wow, we're already pushing right now. I'll probably want price to give me some momentum here, and then that could leave behind this consolidation for a buy. So it's just simply a break and retest of the range. That could be a nice opportunity to follow it to the upside, but at this rate, it does look likely that we do return back to highs. So I would be pretty bullish, at least in the short term. Long term from pound yen, I'm still kind of bearish, but I'm not seeing any selling opportunity, so there's not so much I can do with that bias for now. At the moment, buys look good. This retest there looks good. I'm not too sure if that does happen, but who knows? Maybe we do sell off during the New York session. So I would keep that in mind. But I think in terms of the next realistic opportunity, it probably will be a retest of this area here. But I would want to see a big breakout. Price to kind of really leave that level in the dust. And then we can talk about some break and retest opportunities and a push back to 196. But yeah, pound yen, I would be bullish with this one, at least for the short term. I'm not too sure what price does when we get here, whether we respect to come back down. We can make that judgment when it does happen. But for now, it looks like momentum is definitely with the buyers. So I think naturally we'll probably push back into resistance and then we'll go from there. But yeah, the yen had a really strong rejection yesterday, and that kind of set the tone for all the other yen pairs. So we had a very strong sell-off with this one, and that's where the drop came from, and of course all the yen pairs reacted to it. So I was looking to see if the yen could break to the upside yesterday, but it didn't. It respected that level or this consolidation very well, and now we're looking pretty bearish here. So to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the price action with the yen right now. I mean, for the most part, it looks like resistance is still holding, so you probably would favor still continuation back to these lows at this point now. But we are very flat. And the flatter the pair, the more choppy it is, the less likely I'm looking to try and interpret it and trying to analyze it. Because more often than not, that's where the kind of chaotic, choppy price action is. I want the free-flowing, trending conditions. That's where it gets a lot easier to analyze and understand what is going on. But like I said, supply is still being respected, so I would change that bias to be being bearish now, and a push to that swing low looks like the likely outcome. Also, I like the daily candle close as well yesterday. Nice push up, very strong close, minimal wick to the downside, really showing us momentum is with the bears again. So yeah, pound yen looking very bullish. The yen itself looking pretty weak, so other yen pairs are of course going to be reacting to that as well. If we take a look at dollar yen, that's had a lovely reaction as well. Of course, USD was a bit strong too, so that definitely did help things out. But from a 15-minute perspective, so Yusuf, you said 143.252. Okay, so basically the high here. Should I be looking for a pullback to it after the impulse? There was a small pullback. Should I pay attention to it? Good question. Well, again, not every level, every area which you're looking to buy from or sell from will, of course, will you see a pullback towards that area. There will be some times where price will form a level, ticks all your boxes, but unfortunately just doesn't have a big enough pullback to test that area, and perhaps sometimes price just does continue without you. And that could be the situation here. I wouldn't rule it out because, again, we're still a bit flat here. We could still definitely see price push down and continue from that regard, so I wouldn't rule that out. I think you're probably trying to get the fact that price did form a higher low here technically, then it has kind of spiked to a new high there. So would this be a break of structure? Should you not focus on this anymore because now we're technically bearish? I would kind of look at that as more of a minor swing low rather than a significant one. I feel like if price was to break through that, that wouldn't put me bearish for dollar yen. Yes, on the short term, but not in the longer term. So if you were to break structure here and break through that low, I would expect to see a bit of a sell-off, but this level would still remain valid for me. And I'll still be looking at this as the kind of the major structure I'm looking to follow. And that would just be like a shorter term bearish trend within it before we do continue higher. So to answer your question, yes, I was still looking for the retest of that level. Will we get there? I have no idea. That's just the waiting game with trading. We may get there, we may not. If price doesn't get there, well, then we are creating some more resistance just above us. So if we were to see a sharp enough breakout of that, well, then that could leave a nice opportunity on the retest of this zone. So that could be a nice trade to follow. But again, we need that breakout first to really confirm things. And then we can start to talk about the pullback shortly afterwards. But yeah, it's still a good level to look at, 143 to 250. I wouldn't neglect it. Still very bullish in my book. But yeah, it's just a waiting game to see if price will actually pull back there. It would be great if price always did pull back to test your areas, but sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, in terms of the yen pairs, of course, we saw the yen weakness. So of course, that gave us a very bullish yen crosses. Euro yen was up, pound yen was up. Again, euro yen still very corrective. To be honest, I'm still kind of looking for shorts for this one. If price does push back to the high here at 165, 100, if I can see a healthy enough rejection, I'll look to have a stab at the sells here. Because number one, I'm positioned very, very well because it's right at the high. I still do have a long-term short bias for euro yen. I do still expect to see somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern kind of come into play here. Left head, right shoulder, there's your neckline. So I still do have a very bearish bias long term. So I wouldn't mind shorting because it could give me a nice platform to try and trade that bias. And for the most part, every time we do have a very aggressive rally, price does sell off pretty sharply afterwards. So if I do see another aggressive rally back to the high, I would bet we do have another sell-off of some type. Now, will it give us a huge move down? Maybe it does, but probably not. We probably just push down to find support and push back up again. So in terms of my management, that's where I need to be very focused, because if I do see evidence of us bottoming out and starting to put higher lows in, well, I probably need to cut my profits there, probably look at managing risk and maybe booking some partials. But who knows, maybe if we start to really show momentum and really rip down, I can look to hold on to that and see how far we can take it. But for the most part, that's still a nice place for a short. Still going to keep an eye on that. But yeah, still waiting for us to get there. In terms of CAD yen, nice reaction as well. Very bullish move there. Again, CAD yen, I'm not a big fan of the price action. The way I see it, price is kind of just within a range here. There's your equal highs, there's your equal lows, and now price is just kind of just bouncing between these two levels. So I'm not really interested within this area until price does commit to the upside or commits to the downside. I'm not trying to do anything, to be honest, with CAD yen. Looking bullish for the most part. Looks like we'll probably push back into resistance here at least, but again, that's nothing I can do anything with anyway. So yeah, gonna stay away from CAD yen. But looking at the yen pairs, there's a lot of momentum. I was also looking at Aussie yen yesterday. I was actually debating sticking a long position on this one, but I didn't, because I was already in Aussie CHF at the time, which of course I'm still back in Aussie to be strong. But it does look like to me price is bottoming out here, and we are getting ready for some type of rally. So if we do swing back into resistance there, 95.551, which I think there's a good chance of us doing, I do expect us to break through highs here. And of course, that will give us a massive break of structure. And from then onwards, I do expect to see continuation. But yeah, this to me looks like price is forming a higher low, an inverse head and shoulder pattern. So there's your support. If I take that across, you can see price is doing a pretty good job at respecting it. There's your left shoulder, there's your head, there's your right shoulder. And now looking at the upside move there. So yeah, I was debating Aussie JPY, but because I was already in Aussie CHF, I was like, let me not double up my risk. But yeah, that's when you do trade a lot of pairs. When you do have a lot of pairs you look at, you do see that correlation come into play. And once you are trading one Aussie pair, you're pretty much trading them all. Of course, there will be some differences, but for the most part, you're trading them all. So when I am long on an Aussie pair or an NZD pair, I would have to wait for that to get to break even first before I can look for additional opportunities. Otherwise, I'm basically just doubling down on a position. No problem. Happy to help. Dissy, what is up? I'm looking to short Euro Pound. What should take? Euro Pound, not so short bias. Potential head and shoulder. I'm not so short bias on Euro Pound. I'm long bias, if anything. Because we have come back from this area and we did respect it very well last week, Thursday. Nice reaction. But head and shoulder, I'm not quite seeing that. Unless, let me know what time frame you're talking about. The head and shoulder, is it this you're talking about? If that's the head and shoulder you're talking about, to be honest, then I can actually get behind that, to be honest. Not that I will trade it myself, but if we do break the neckline here, then yeah, I would expect us to push back into support. And that could be a nice intraday trade. How many pips you're looking at? A decent 40 pips. You can get yourself a nice 15 pip stop loss. You should be looking at least a 1 to 2 there. Possibly a little bit more than that. So if that's the head and shoulder you're talking about, unless you're talking about on the daily chart or something, let me know. But yeah, if you're looking at that as your head and shoulder pattern, then yeah, I can get behind that, looking for the retest and then some shorts, probably like an 30-minute chart or an hourly chart maybe. That could be a nice opportunity for a break and retest there. But again, looking at that in terms of more of a shorter term move, because once you do get back to this area, well, you're back in bullish territory again, and I wouldn't be looking to try and sell into that level. Because you can clearly see momentum has shifted, a lot of buying pressure from this area. If we do tap into there again, not to say that we're guaranteed to see the same move, but there's clearly evidence of us reacting from this zone. So if you do see price react again, that's a good cue to probably exit trades, secure some profits there. But if you're mentioning like a daily head and shoulder, I think I see what you could be referring to as well. The fact that price is still respecting resistance there. So there's your left head, right shoulder, even though probably it's a bit of a stretch there, to be honest. But even that is still holding as resistance and could give us a push down. And I would agree with that as well. I think after seeing that daily candle closure yesterday as well, it does look like momentum is shifting back to the bears. So I think we are likely to push back down into the lows here. But if we do get there again and see another rejection, I think this is still a great place for a buy. And if we do reject well, that's a place where I would look to buy myself to take it higher. So yeah, for the most part, Euro Pound, I would agree in the short term, bearish bias does make sense. If you're looking to try and trade it back into the lows at 0.836, I would stand by that. Any further, I think you're trying to push the luck a little bit. And not to say we can't go further, but I would be keeping a close eye on things, because if we do start to see rejection there, I wouldn't be stingy and just hold that position, because it could very much easily turn against you. But in terms of my watch list, I did say I was going to go through my watch list earlier, but I completely forgot. So in terms of the watch list, of course, I'm trading Aussie CHF, so that's just the pair I'm going to be managing. But in terms of pairs I'm looking to get into, well, if I can get this to break even, that does free up some space for some more Aussie pairs. And I'm looking to see if we can at least break that resistance level, and that will be enough to justify a break even. So hopefully that can happen. And if that does happen, then I can start to look at Euro Aussie. Some shorts there. Now, again, if Aussie CHF does go to break even, there's probably a strong chance that I'll probably miss the boat on this, and this is probably selling off as well. So, yeah, that is a possibility, but I wouldn't rule it out because we could very much do double tops here and come back up again, and that could give me a nice entry. So I'll keep an eye on something like that developing, but I do like Aussie, Euro Aussie to the downside as well. New Zealand CAD, I'm still very bullish on. This one's just taking its sweet time, and it's a little bit annoying, I'm not going to lie. I've been looking to buy this one for a few weeks now, and it's been very, very flat. I'm looking to see if we can get another drive back into the lows here, where I can position myself long. Hopefully, maybe even wick through the wick there. Create some fresh lows, and then from there we can see the continuation back into the high. So New Zealand CAD, definitely a pair which I'm very eager to trade. I've been looking to trade it for the past few weeks. It's just the market price action has been horrendous. We've been chopping around and not really doing too much. But if we can drive back to the lows, that would be brilliant. That'll allow me to find a trade setup there and hopefully swing it back into resistance and even back to the highs here as well. So New Zealand CAD buy is definitely something I'm looking at. In terms of the USD pairs, dollar CAD I do like the look of, but again, I'm not too sure if I get the setup. By the looks of things, we might kind of just spill over to the downside and might not see the retest them after. But essentially, dollar CAD's looking very bearish. We're still very consistent with these lower highs. I do expect us to push back into this range here. Back in September 2024, we had a brief pause, ripped to the upside for a lot of momentum. I do think there's a strong likelihood that we just come back and test that zone. We're not too far away from it already. So if I can find a pullback somewhere, find a lower high, it will give me the opportunity to short towards that area and take advantage of that move. So dollar CAD is on the watch list, looking for the retest of this range. Brief pause, nice push down. I would expect to see momentum step back into the market from that zone. So dollar CAD shorts look good. I still like the looks of gold longs. I'm kind of hoping we see another push down first. But yeah, with gold, I was actually keeping a very close eye on this one yesterday. My alert did actually trigger for gold, but it actually just missed my zone by the smallest margin there. But essentially for gold, we've had this descending channel at play, bull flag pattern, however you want to call it. But for the most part, gold's been very, very bullish. So my interpretation of gold is that once we do break out this channel and commit to the upside, there's a very high chance that we're going to see price just rally back into resistance here at 3,500, which of course is the all-time highs. So the plan for gold is, now that we've got the breakout, can we find a retest somewhere? And that's my opportunity to actually trade the move. So I was looking for the entry yesterday, didn't quite see it. So still hoping for another push down first and then hopefully some buys shortly afterwards. But then yeah, targets back to the highs pretty much. But it will be a position where I don't really look to take profits on, because gold in these conditions, who knows how big of a move we could see. It's definitely a position which I want to trail and just let price do its thing. Maybe it's just going to be a small winner. Maybe it'll be a bigger winner. I have no idea. But I know I'm positioned well in a good condition where the probabilities do add up in my favor for a bigger swing. So I'll try and take advantage of that as much as I can. But yeah, that's the opportunity I'm looking at for gold. Yen pairs, like I said, Euro Yen, I'm keeping an eye on the short for that one. Up at the high, bit more of an aggressive trade, a bit more kind of counter trend reversal. But I do like how everything's set up. I like the price action. Just need to see a healthy rejection at the high, and that will entice me. And yeah, ends the USD. I'm still looking for the breaking retest of that zone here as well. We're just taking it sweet time. But if you can break through 0.60300, we'll call it, that does look like a nice breaking retest opportunity for a buy. So ends the USD has made the cut as well. And yeah, that pretty much sums up the watch list. I'm not going to lie. I don't think I've missed anything out. I've also started to like Aussie CAD as well. It's quite corrective, but I do think there's a big move to be had. But again, I'm trading Aussie CHF at the time, so I doubt I get the position for this one because I'm not looking to get involved in another Aussie pair until I get my Aussie CHF to break even. And that probably means Aussie CAD will be on its way too. But I like where we're trading, coming back into a very, very significant low here, and we've been very corrective on the way down. So my thinking with Aussie CAD is that not only are we coming to a significant low on the daily chart, we're coming back to more or less an area of demand on the 4-hour chart, and we've been very corrective on the way down, which typically means price is getting ready for a bit of a rally. So I do expect us to kind of break to the upside and push back to the swing high here at 0.904. So I'm very bullish on Aussie CAD. I do think there's a big move to be had. But yeah, I'm trading Aussie CHF, so I'm just staying back for now. But yeah, that's probably it for the watch list, to be honest. Yeah. Yusuf, thoughts on Euro Pound? I had an entry both yesterday, but got stopped out. Okay, I'll have a look for you. Euro USD had a big wick at the level, and Pound USD had a double bottom. Okay, we'll go take a look. Morning, Antonio. Did you re-enter CHF longs? Yes, I did. I entered long on New Zealand CHF at 49.050. Dollar CHF again. Okay, doubling down. Nice. Tripling down. Pound CHF as well. I may just trade CHF pairs this month only, nothing else. Well, that's the thing. If you got a good read, a good understanding for it, confident with your buys, confident with your plan, then that's really what you want to focus on, because you don't want to take another opportunity just because you feel like you need to, just to feel active in the market. If it isn't a good one, of course, if another good opportunity comes around which fits your bias well, and of course you don't want to turn it down, because at the end of the day, those are the opportunities which you want to be taking, kind of no matter what, really. So if another great opportunity comes around which fits the bias well and what you look at and your confidence as well, then of course you don't really want to turn that down. But if nothing else does meet your bias or your plan to the same degree as the other CHF pairs, then yeah, just focus on the CHF pairs, because you don't want to throw around money unnecessarily. You don't just take a trade just to take a trade. But yeah, I did hop in the Aussie CHF, so I'm looking to try and take advantage of the CHF weakness and the bullishness of the CHF crosses as a whole. So yeah, I'm long on Aussie CHF. This one's set up the best for me. I was actually buying New Zealand CHF last week, but I was trailed out of that position. It was a little bit flat, so it didn't really get going how I wanted it to. But Aussie CHF kind of shaped up well, respect support pretty well, nice double bottom. So I have found myself in a long position here, looking to see if we can at least go and break structure. But I'm looking for us to come back and test this zone here. Very big consolidation, massive dump there. So I do think there's a strong chance we actually go back and retest that range. And then maybe we go for a bigger pullback once that happens. But I think there's a lot of upside. Aussie CHF is a CHF pair coming from all-time lows as well. So that's why I do really like it. Because I don't expect to see much sellers in the market. If we're coming from all-time lows, I expect all the big players probably cashed in already. And naturally, there should be some type of recovery for price. Okay, looking at Aussie CHF, but chose yeah, I mean, they're very similar pairs. Aussie CHF, New Zealand CHF, 9 times out of 10, they'll do the same thing, really. So yeah, it doesn't really matter too much which one you choose, as long as you're happy with the idea and the setup. I was looking at New Zealand CHF as well. The only reason why I chose Aussie is just because New Zealand was a bit flat, and I also wanted it to push back into support here before taking the long. And it hasn't quite done that yet, but I still have the same bias. I still do think price is going to break higher. I just preferred Aussie, and of course you preferred NZD, but they'll do the same thing. They'll either both work or both fail. So let's hope for the best. But I was trading this one last week as well. Okay, let me go take a look at Euro USD and Pound USD for Yusuf. I will go look at the other CHF pairs as well, actually. I haven't actually looked at them yet. But yeah, Euro USD, you said you got long on this one, Yusuf, but unfortunately got stopped out, which again, part of the game. Just because you got stopped out doesn't mean you did necessarily something wrong or you missed something. Maybe you did, but maybe you just followed the plan very well. You're not supposed to win all the time, so don't beat yourself up just because you took a loss. It is part of the game, literally. As long as it's a good loss, you know, you're supposed to do that. Okay, so I had an entry on both yesterday, got stopped at USD, had a big wick at the level, and pound USD at double bottom. So I assume this is the wick you're talking about yesterday. That's the 3rd of June, yeah. So I assume that's the wick you're probably talking about for Euro, and I assume probably had a stop loss here, and that's what kind of took you out the trade. So in terms of the idea, I do like it. I think you're in the direction, in the right direction. You're kind of waiting for a pullback. We've had a healthy pullback. We're seeing aggressive wicks. Nice shift of momentum there. It's a nice trade. I do agree with that, and I think it justifies. I wouldn't say it's unjustified loss. I would say that you wait for some healthy rejection. You wait for a good pullback into a healthy area. It just didn't play out. Unfortunately, it's one of those trades where you do kind of just get spiked out and then price does push in your favor. But I would always suggest, though, always be prepared for the re-entry, because even though price did take out the lows, it was followed by a really nice shift of momentum on the 15 there. So that would be another entry signal for me. Nice rejection at the lows, still respecting the same area which I was buying from previously. That would be another entry for me. So always stay on your toes, because maybe you do get wicked out. Doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong about the position or wrong about the direction. Maybe you just got in slightly too early, and the market gives you another entry signal which potentially plays out. And especially if you're looking at positive risk to reward, 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, 1 to 4s, you know, you want to get back in, because you're not so concerned about win rate, because you know that the risk to reward is what's going to sustain you in the long run. So if you do get wicked out, you know, stay cool, assess the situation. Maybe you were in the wrong direction. Maybe price does continue to fall. In this case, you know, price did reject again and did see another recovery. There might be another opportunity if price comes back down again, so keep an eye on that. In terms of pound USD, you're looking for the double bottom, you said. Had a double bottom. So were you wicked out here, maybe? I'm not too sure. I mean, the way I'm interpreting pound USD is basically a breaking test of this zone here. So as you can see, solid resistance to our left, taking that across. Looks to be holding as support so far and doing a pretty good job. So that's what's making me bullish for pound. So yesterday's price action, we pull back into that zone. Nice wicks there on the hourly, but of course you're on the 15. Not really anything crazy in terms of rejection here, so I probably would stay away from this price action because it's just very, very corrective, not really showing me a strong shift of momentum. Probably until this candle, that does look good, so that could be a nice entry signal. Maybe it's a bit on the bigger side of things, but it does show momentum's in your favor. And if you held the trade, you'd probably still be in the trade at the moment. This was a nice rejection, nice wick into that zone, nice shift of momentum there. As well. Of course, that was a nice rally this morning. We are failing at the highs though. Maybe we do come back down for another retest. But I would say again, in terms of the location where you're picking up these longs from, they make sense. I wouldn't say you're picking up areas where it doesn't make sense. You know, these are areas where price is more or less turning around, so you're getting a good feel for the market, a good understanding, which is difficult to actually learn because that's something you have to actually pick up with experience. Because you know, everyone can identify support and resistance, but you have to get a feeling for price. When is it ready to turn? Levels that make sense to trade from. You know, you're trading in the right areas. So definitely kudos for that. But again, you're going to take losses regardless. Even the best of traders would still take losses as well. So you just have to manage them and review them as well, because maybe you did miss something. Okay, so I'll go through some of the CHF pairs. Where can we re-enter Aussie Swiss? Re-enter Aussie CHF. I mean, I'm never really one for re-entering unless price is back where I wanted to buy it from before. So unless price was to push down here and give me another entry signal, then that's my re-entering. I've tried to experiment with kind of adding 2 positions. Hasn't really worked out too well for me. I think it's because FX is a bit choppy. I feel like if I traded indices a little bit more, maybe it would be a bit better. But because FX does chop around, and from my experience, it's always best to be trying to be at the lows or be at the highs rather than try and be on the middle things. That's where the most kind of speculation and the most noise is. So I wouldn't really want to be jumping into some buys as price is pushing higher. If price doesn't push down here, I'd probably say a nice intraday setup could be a breaking test of this zone. If we can see a big enough breakout of that level, that might provide some opportunities for an entry there. So yeah, that could be something to look at. Again, with me, I would just wait to see price to get back to support, which of course we don't always do. Sometimes we do come back for a retest. Sometimes price just flies. And if that's the case, that's just a missed opportunity. But if you can drop to like an hourly chart, it could be some nice breaking retests here at 0.535. So I would keep a lookout for that. Yeah, I think that's the best I've got for a re-entry of the position, to be honest. Otherwise, yeah, I would wait for support to come into play. But yeah, in terms of other CHF pairs, so I do like the looks of things, especially in the higher time frames. Like daily, weekly chart does look like reversals. We spoke about Euro CHF earlier. I said why I like that one is because price, of course, is respecting. Oh, look at that for a pullback. We were very, very bullish last time we looked at Euro CHF. This was trading up at the highs there. I did say that's why you wait for closed candles, especially for breakouts, because wicks are a thing. And if price is going to be trading above a zone, a trend line, a level, whatever, wait for all the candle to close. And even then, you can still get fake outs. But at least you don't get faked out by an open candle, which can potentially leave a wick there. That's just taking a trade when there's not even fully formed yet. But yeah, Euro CHF for the most part, if I look at the daily chart, we respected, actually weekly chart actually. If I look at the weekly chart for Euro Swiss, I can see numerous rejections at this support level. So there's a clear sign to me that the buyers are in charge here, or at least at this level. As a whole, the sellers are in charge, of course. The trend is very much bearish. But the sellers are really finding it difficult to break through 0.926. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 rejections of this area. All have been failed attempts to break through the level. So naturally, I do think there's a big buy to be had for Euro CHF. Of course, in terms of finding entries, that's where I struggle with, because my entry time frame is the 4-hour chart. And for the most part, that is looking absolutely atrocious right now. So Euro CHF, not a big fan of the price action. I think if you can see a strong breakout of this wedge pattern, that will be a nice signal or opportunity to wait for some retest to buy. So I'm not a big fan of the price action, which is why I stayed away from Euro CHF. But from a high time frame perspective, I do like the buys anyway. Pound CHF, I'm not so much for the buys either, just because of how we've been trading. Again, in the higher time frames, we're a bit flat, to be honest. We're kind of within a range here. And now price is kind of in the middle of that range as well. So that's not the best place where I want to pick up longs. If I want to pick up longs, I want to be as close to these levels as possible. If I'm looking to short, I want to be as close to those highs as possible there, just because in general we are very flat. So buy low, sell high is kind of my motto here in these conditions, which is why I kind of stayed away from pound CHF. CAD CHF, I don't mind, because this one also is coming from all-time lows as well. This one had a massive drop, similar to Aussie CHF. I mean, similar to all the CHF pairs, but Aussie CHF and New Zealand CHF, they created new all-time lows, and so did this one past that point there. So this one is due a pretty big recovery as well. However, again, drop to the 4-hour chart, I'm getting more noise, just a lot of sideways behavior. I think if you can break this to the upside, there could be some nice buys to follow. But again, we're not there yet, so I'm not interested. Then, of course, New Zealand CHF is quite flat as well, which is why I stayed away from that one. I mean, I still do expect us to break higher, but again, entries difficult to find with how I look to take my trades. And then dollar CHF. Dollar CHF, I think the main reason I stayed away from dollar CHF is purely because I'm still pretty bearish on USD. So I'm bearish on the CHF, but I'm also bearish on USD. So it's kind of like which one's going to be weaker. I think CHF will be the weaker one, but again, I'd rather just focus with Aussie CHF because I'm actually bullish on Aussie and I'm bearish on CHF, and I just like the price action more. So that's why I picked that one. But then again, the CHF pairs, they do move pretty much the same. If you look at the higher time frames, if you look at the daily chart and zoom out, look at dollar CHF, pound CHF, euro CHF, Aussie CHF, CAD CHF, they all do the same thing really. So yeah, if I'm going to see an up move for Aussie CHF, 8 times out of 10, you're probably going to see them an up move in all the CHF pairs together, unless of course something crazy happens with Aussie dollar on its own. But yeah, dollar CHF, one which again I'm pretty bearish on the USD, so I'm not looking to trade that one either. We did recover support here very well, which has made things a bit more bullish now for dollar CHF. Might see a bit of a rally there. But again, I'm not really seeing a clear-cut opportunity to buy this one up. And that's the reason why I chose Aussie, because it just ticked my boxes well and the others didn't. And again, just because they don't tick my boxes too doesn't mean they won't drive higher. Because when I'm looking to take a trade, I'm not looking to take a trade in terms of justifying whether the market will go up or down. I'm just justifying whether my edge is present, and what I look for is there to a good degree. There are many times where price does go up or does go down, but I simply just didn't take the trade because it didn't fit the plan, it didn't fit my entry signal. So just because I don't get an entry signal doesn't mean the price won't push up or go down. It just, there's no valid signal for me and for how I trade. And that's the case there. So yeah, as a whole, I do think we can see a lot of CHF pairs recover. No problem, Yusuf, happy to help. As a whole, I do think we can see a lot of CHF pairs recover, but just Aussie CHF at the time being is looking the better one. But yeah, it's been a bit of a slow-ish week. Haven't seen too much activity. Of course, we do have some news this week. It is only Wednesday as well, so let me not get too ahead of myself. So, I mean, we still do have, in terms of the news today, we got, I forgot about that one. We got Bank of Canada interest rate decision. I know we got Euro tomorrow. But we got Bank of Canada at 2:45 today. So if anyone's trading CAD, please do be aware of that at 2:45 p.m., which is about 3 hours from now. That's 2:45 UK time, by the way. But 3 hours from now, we got the interest rate decision. The interest rates are expected to stay the same, so I don't know how much movement that would cause, unless it doesn't stay the same, of course. But if it does come out the same, I probably wouldn't expect CAD to be doing anything crazy. We do have ADP employment change for the dollar at 1:15, again UK time. And we also got PMI as well for the dollar at 3 o'clock. And then tomorrow ECB interest rate decision, that's at 1:15. Rates expected to drop for Euro. Could be seeing a bearish Euro tomorrow. Am I looking to trade Euro? A little bit with Euro Aussie. I'm looking to short that one, so that could send that trade on its way, to be honest. The interest rate decision might send Euro Aussie down. Any other Euro pairs I'm looking to trade? Euro Yen, I'm looking to short as well, but I need that to be a lot higher before I do press the trigger on that one, and I doubt it will be at my level by tomorrow afternoon, so I'll see how we affect that one. Then of course we got non-farm payroll on Friday. Yeah, non-farm payroll on Friday is 130. So quite a bit of news to go through. I think the big ones are just ECB interest rate, CAD interest rate, non-farm payroll. Those are three big ones. But of course, there are some other news events that can move price as well. But those ones I'll focus on. And in fairness, CAD pairs, the only CAD pair or 3 CAD pairs I'm looking to trade, I don't think I'll get trade setups for, because dollar CAD, I'm looking to short, but I don't think I will get a pullback before the news comes out. The news comes out tomorrow, or is it today? No, it's today, sorry. So yeah, I definitely won't get a news. Definitely won't get a trade before the news comes out, because this is the zone I'm looking to short from. So maybe the news might give me a nice boost. Who knows? But yeah, I don't really have to worry too much about it because we're so far away. Of course, New Zealand CAD as well. I'm looking to buy that one. Don't have to worry too much. Nowhere near an entry for me. That's where I'm looking to try and buy it from. Need to see a big push down, so maybe again CAD could help me out, but we'll have to wait and see. And then Aussie CAD as well, and this one is in an area which I do want to buy from, but I'm just not going to be buying now because I'm already in an Aussie pair, so I don't want to jump into another one just yet. But if I wasn't in an Aussie pair, that might make me kind of wait for the news to happen and then find a trade. But I'm quite bullish on this one so far as well. But yeah, CAD pairs don't have to worry too much. USD pairs, the only USD pairs I'm looking to trade this week is just USD CAD, which again, not quite near that level, but then NFP's on Friday, so we could be trading at that level by then, so I have to be a little bit cautious of that. Then of course gold, and gold I could see a setup very soon as well, so I could run into a bit of trouble with gold, I'm not going to lie. And trading gold and NFP can be a bit of a sticky situation, especially if I'm going to drop to an hourly chart. That does tighten my stop loss a little bit, and it's not the best time to be having tighter stop losses. But gold is still something I'm going to look to trade. Again, I wouldn't mind if I can get into a trade like a day before NFP comes out. So let's say this sets up tomorrow, I would still take the trade and just still kind of hold it through NFP really. Again, the worst case scenario, I get slipped a little bit. Maybe I lose a little bit extra, but it's not going to be the make or break between the survival of my account or not. Maybe I potentially lose double what I risked. Again, it's annoying, but it's recoverable. So, which is really my take on news. People ask, should you trade for news? Should you not? I do trade for news, but most of the time I'm on the 4-hour chart anyway, so my stop losses are pretty big. So even when news doesn't go for me, maybe I do get slipped a little bit, but it's very, very small. Very rarely is it anything meaningful. And that's because, again, I do trade in the 4-hour chart. If I traded like the 15-minute chart, I would have a very different outlook on the news. But yeah, if you are intraday, you probably want to be a bit more careful, especially gold, especially NFP. I probably would avoid that. But hourly chart, I think I still just about get away with it. We'll have to wait and see, but it looks like we could see another push down. Looks like price is still struggling at resistance there. As I said at the start of the stream, this is a very corrected move up. It's not like we've seen a lot of momentum here. This is a very staggered move for gold, so I do think a push down is on the cards. Again, yesterday was so close to testing that zone to potentially give me an entry, but as we can see, just didn't quite have enough there to test that level. Which I don't mind actually, because this might have sucked in some buyers here. And if we do actually go and test the zone now, we might flush some out, the early buyers out of the position. And then that potentially might give me a nice catalyst to get the trade really rolling. So it might actually be a bit of a blessing if we do push down. Of course, if we do suddenly push up, then yeah, I've missed the trade. But at this rate, this candle looks like it means business. It's looking pretty bearish at the moment. Is USD strong, or is just gold just acting weird? Let me have a look at the dollar. No, I would say USD looks pretty strong here. It has flipped around there. How is pound USD doing? Yep, that's pushed down quite a lot. Euro USD. pushed down as well. Again, nothing significant. We pushed up here, but it's not going to justify me switching my bias around. Even if we do push higher than this wick here, I would still be looking for price to turn around. I mean, in terms of a swing trade, I probably would want to see price pull back even into this zone before looking to sell, to be honest, because this won't justify things on a lower time, on a higher time frame. This is more like an intraday, hourly and below opportunity. If you're looking for more of a swing trade anyway, you would want a bigger pullback into 100.2, something like that, where you can base a trade from a solid resistance, significant level, and look for a swing there. As long as price doesn't break through this high, essentially. As long as we don't break through that high there for the dollar, I remain bearish. Even if we do break through this zone here, I would still be pretty bearish on the dollar. Just like for dollar yen, it does look like we're pushing up pretty well. But as long as we remain below this level, I remain bearish for USD JPY. I'm looking for us to roll over here. Same for the DXY. If we remain, excuse me, if we remain, voice is playing up there. If we remain, there we go, below that level at 100.3, that keeps me bearish. If we do break structure there, that turns into a massive double bottom. And at that point, you're looking at some corrections for some more upside. So that is what would make me bullish for USD. It's going to be an insane 2 days. I do agree, Tony Gold. It will be an insane 2 days. Very, very much so. I think just, again, if you're intraday, be aware of the news. Of course, it's a must. You don't want to be jumping into a trade with a stop loss on the 5-minute chart, 10 pips on gold, jumping into NFP with 5 minutes to go. That's just a big no-no. Even if you're in the right direction, the spread will probably just kill you. Yeah, so you don't want to be doing that. So if on the lower time frames, very much keep, of course, even the higher time frames too. Pretty much everyone, keep an eye on the news. But yeah, we've got 2 big interest rates coming up. We've got NFP as well. That should provide us with some momentum. And again, I've always said as a trader, momentum is a good thing. A lot of people panic and shy away from momentum. Momentum is good. Momentum is what moves the market. It's what provides us with opportunities, what speeds up trades, helps us capitalize on bigger moves. You know, if you're looking to capitalize on a big swing trade, even if you're on the lower time frames, we're never going to get anywhere if momentum is just dead and just flat. Sometimes you need these fundamental releases to actually get the market going, and that allows you to capitalize on bigger moves. Like, for example, my Aussie CHF trade at the start of the year, or Feb sometime, I was short here, and then eventually I got out at this low here. You know, for the most part, this trade was just very, very messy. It was very, very sideways, wasn't going anywhere. I think we had a bit of news here. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was some Aussie news at the time, which gave us this reaction. This was some news as well, which shot us back up too. But again, to really go and hit my take profit, we needed this move to actually get the ball rolling. Of course, we did go a lot further than that, but that's where I had my take profit at the time. But again, this was not something you happen in the normal days trading. This is something fundamentally happening, adding a lot of selling pressure to the market. It's a big catalyst to get the ball rolling. And if you're taking advantage of bigger swing trades, even if you're in the lower time frames, again, it doesn't have to be aggressive as this, but it's the catalyst, it's the news events that get price going and cause panic and cause markets to slip around. So news is actually always a good thing. I actually always look forward to news. If you're looking to try and trade news outright, if you've got 5 minutes to go before NFP and you're trying to place a bunch of trades before to try and anticipate where it's going to go, well, of course, that's going to be stressful. And of course, you're probably going to lose money if you don't know what you're doing. But as a swing trader, I just look at news as just events just to get the market moving. As long as I focus on my setups, making sure I'm trading well, waiting for good setups to align, then I just let the news do its thing. Sometimes news will be in my favor, sometimes it won't be. When it is in my favor, great. It helps out the trade a lot. speeds things a lot as well. If it does go against me, well, at least I'm out the trade quickly, on to the next one. So I do like news. I do like news. It does create opportunity. And of course, as long as you're managing risk and you've got a plan for everything, then you should be okay. Trading is always a game of risk. Yeah, any money you have in your account is a game of risk, really. So as long as you can manage that well, yeah, you're good to go. But yeah, in terms of as the week progresses, as the day progresses, I think I'm just gonna monitor Aussie CHF. Really, there's nothing for me to do elsewhere. Yeah, I'm just thinking now there's no other opportunity. But actually, apart from gold might push down. It looks like it's speeding up as well. Yeah, I think gold might give me something today. Might give me something. Maybe late in the afternoon. If not, maybe tomorrow morning. So gold, I think, is the other one I'll pay attention to. Other pairs like New Zealand CAD, dollar CAD, the yen pairs, other crosses. Yeah, those are quite far away from actually giving me any entries. Or I'm already in an AUD pair, so I don't really want to get into another Aussie. So I think in terms of getting to a new trade, gold looks the most likely. So that's probably my pick of the day so far. Gold longs pushed down into 33.30, and then hopefully some buys back up again. Goffer, what's your thoughts on USD ZAR? I'm on longs right now. Okay, we'll have a look. Antonio Pound Aussie. Okay, we'll have a look see as well. USD ZAR, haven't looked at this one in a few days now. Okay, so USD ZAR. Okay, we've had that massive rejection. It looks like price is just going to be ending up back at this low at this point now. The fact that we got to the highs rejected so aggressively, it does look like price is just going to slip over back to the lows in. Of course, taking out the low here too. So you said you're in a long, and I actually quite like that idea because we are very, very corrective. So I do expect to see some type of reaction back up again. I do expect the bigger move to be down, but of course I do expect to see some type of pullback before we do fulfill that complete move. I doubt price kind of just stays corrective all the way down there. I do think we have a bit of an up move first before we do push down. So I do agree with the buys. I would be looking for sells as well. It would be a type of situation where we buy it to sell it. But I do like the buy opportunity. I'm not a big fan of the price action just yet. I'm not seeing any kind of significant reaction from the buyers. If I'm going to try and look to go against momentum like this, I kind of want to see a bit of a statement candle somewhere, maybe a nice wick to the downside and a strong close. Those type of statement candles kind of show that, okay, we found support. We probably are going to rally now. And then I can start to look for some sells probably later on. So I'm still kind of waiting for that. Not really seeing that just yet. Again, as long as we can hold support, you're looking good. But I want to see that kind of statement candle come into play to really tell me that, okay, this is ending and we're going to push up. Because it's very difficult to catch this move on a dime and catch the opposite move. You kind of need that kind of strong indication that, okay, things are going to turn around. So not quite seeing that yet, but I do expect to see an up move, but I still expect that to be the bigger drop. And you're targeting the high. Which high is that? Is it this high or was it this high? Okay, short time long. Okay, so I assume maybe you're targeting this high there. So yeah, if you're targeting that high, that makes sense. I can definitely agree with that because you're not looking for anything too crazy anyway. The market's still down in general. So I can definitely agree with that outlook because as a whole, if price does respect that, probably going to sell off again. But yeah, I do think the sales are the bigger one. Okay, yeah, first one, yeah. So that makes sense. I'm not going to knock that. In terms of pound Aussie, so pound Aussie, I'm bearish on this one as well. I do prefer Euro Aussie a little bit more, but again, same sort of pair. They're going to do pretty much the same thing. Again, looking for pound Aussie to come back into the lows here. Reason being, pound Aussie, if I can go to the weekly chart actually, you can see we've taken out some major highs. If you look to our left, this dates back to COVID. Major highs over there. Prices rallied to the upside, broken through them. I think the market's quite stretched here. We're very overextended, and we are likely to go through some type of pullback here. So pretty bearish on pound Aussie. Longer term, I feel like there's a big drop to be had. Looking at the 4-hour chart, you can see how corrective we've been on the way up. This is not the sign of a healthy trending market. This doesn't instill you with a lot of confidence that the buyers are back in control, and this trend is going to continue further. In my book, this is a clear sign that sellers are probably going to step in and send price back down again. Looks like resistance is holding pretty well. Potentially a lower high is forming here. So that could be an entry. I'm always looking for price to push back into the high before entering, just because I wouldn't want to have my stop loss here. I want to have it up above there. But it does look like we are starting to roll over here. And in terms of my expectation for pound Aussie, it is a swing back to the lows. So yeah, pretty bearish on pound Aussie. As I said, I do prefer Euro Aussie, but again, very similar pairs. I think they're both very likely to go for a bit of a drop, and I'm expecting price to make its way back to that low. So for both of them, expecting a pretty big swing, at least back to 2.05, and then possibly back to this high as well. And then maybe from there, the overall trend does continue. Maybe we do push into support here, and maybe from there we do turn around. But we can judge that when price actually does get there. For now, still very bearish on pound Aussie, and I do think a drop is there. And I do expect to see some strength for the Aussie as well. I'm quite bullish on the Aussie dollar. Pound, a bit more neutral. But Aussie, I do think there's strength coming for that currency pair. Same with NZD2. So yeah, if that strength does come in, how I expect it to come in, that should be a nice kind of rollover for pound Aussie. And because we're very corrective, I do expect to be a quite strong drop, similar to the move we had over here as well. A nice kind of impulsive move to the downside. So yeah, guys, it does take us... okay, also pound CAD sells, but I don't like how it's selling off. I haven't actually looked at pound CAD today. Someone did mention pound CAD earlier, but I forgot to take a look at it. Yeah, I mean, I like how it's come back for the retest of the range. It's not really seeing that much momentum. I think that's the key thing. I think as a whole, pound CAD, I do think there's a pretty big sell to be had with this one. Again, a lot of wicks to the upside in the weekly chart. We're failing at resistance. I do feel like price is probably going to push down. But yeah, I mean, we had that initial drop, which was good. Now we're kind of looking a little bit sluggish, which is not the best sign. But I would say as long as we can respect this area here, I would stay bearish. We might push in for a double top and then sell off. I would say as long as we can hold 1.86, I stay bearish. Yeah, the drop is not strong, but the sells still look good. Unless we were to break above that and start to create some bullish structure there, then of course that would definitely be a bit of a red flag. But if resistance holds, I wouldn't worry too much. And we do have CAD news coming up later, so do keep an eye on that. But guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I do really appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in today, chatting with myself. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. It does really help out, helps promote the channel, helps show YouTube that you're enjoying the content here. So that does really help out. Of course, subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already, want to see more of the content. And of course, hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. I will be live again tomorrow, same as always, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, make sure you pop in, come and say hi. I do have a Discord link to Elevating Traders, completely free to join. You can join the community, chat with other traders, chat with myself. I share some of my ideas there. Other people do too. So if you're looking to discuss, chat, see what's happening, check out the Discord link. It is linked in the description and it's free to join. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for hopping onto the stream. I'll be live again tomorrow, so I hope to see you all there. But till then, take care, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.